Hello everyone, Trophy Wine Hunter. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a review or a re-review of the Chateau Puy Blanquet 2017. Why am I saying this is a re-review? Well, I did review this wine almost 2 years ago when I first started the channel. I'm almost embarrassed by the video. I'm actually going to take it off public view. It was when I first started. It's kind of hilarious, and I guess it shows the growth that I've had, and thank you to all the subscribers that have put up with me, because that video was terrible. So anyways, hopefully I'll do a better job and actually will have a better taste of the wine now that it's 2 years more mature. So Puy Blanquet is a Grand Cru wine from Saint-Emilion. So if you've followed my other videos, and I'll put my Saint-Emilion video at the end of this video, you'll know that Grand Cru really doesn't mean very much in Saint-Emilion. In fact, there's more Grand Cru wines in Saint-Emilion than there are unclassified wines. I will say that it is on the eastern edge of Saint-Emilion. It's near the Cotes de Castillon border. The ownership changed in 2020. It was acquired by the Malet-Roquefort family, who actually also own La Gaffeliere, which is one of the wines that came out of the classification system. It's one of the 4 wineries that decided that they didn't want to be classified in the 2022 Saint-Emilion. So I guess it's a great wine. The other great story here is that, in fact, the Malet-Roquefort family actually owned this winery in the 18th century. So they're kind of reacquiring it. It was previously owned by the Jacquet family, and they had owned it since 1958. But it really doesn't matter, because the wine management and the winemaking is under the Moueix company. So even though owners have changed, stylistically, it really hasn't changed at all. It's a fairly small vineyard, 20 hectares. The composition of the vineyard is 75% Merlot, 15% Cabernet Franc, and 10% Cabernet Sauvignon. The yields are fairly high, and it is machine harvested. So it's more like a value entry-level type wine that has a Saint-Emilion classification, or is in the region. 80% of the wine is aged in vats, and then 20% in oak barrels, 10% of which is new oak, and it's aged for 12 to 14 months. So kind of what these things tell me is, I think long term, it doesn't have the quality that some of the other wineries, if you look at it, it's not aged in oak barrels, it's not manually harvested. These little things, these little factors, piece by piece by piece, cut down the quality of the wine for a long-term basis. I did a video of this 2 years ago, and it'd be useful to compare, but I think I'm going to take it off public viewing because it was so bad, the video. But in the future, that's what you'll see a lot. For some of my earlier videos, I'm probably going to take them off the site and then replace them and revisit them. I find it's very useful to revisit a wine every 2 years or so. And so you'll see that with some of my older reviews. I'm either going to mark them archive, or else I'm going to take them off the site completely, because in my estimation, any review of a wine that's maybe 3 years or older is really obsolete, and really the wine has changed and it's not really accurate anymore. So from my review 2 years ago, the wine was really tannic. There was not a lot there, so it was very difficult to tell anything about the wine. It seemed okay, but again, it wasn't giving very much. So it'll be interesting this time how it tastes. So here is the cork, slightly shorter than some of the longer corks or the high-end corks that we see. Okay, there are some oxidation cuts. Puy Blanquet, Saint-Emilion Grand Cru. Again, if you recall, Grand Cru is a name of many destinations that many Saint-Emilion wines have. If it's Grand Cru Classé, then that's a little bit more special. On the back, not a lot of information. The Jacquet family at that point still owned this wine. In 2020, it was changed, the ownership. And on the color, it's still quite vibrant, kind of a blood ruby red, and so it doesn't really show a lot of signs of aging. Let's taste the wine, and I'll let you know that we've had this open now for about 2.5 hours in a decanter, so it should be fully aerated right now. When I first drank it out of the bottle, it was still quite tannic. If you recall from 2 years ago when I drank this wine, I thought it was tannic. It's still fairly tannic at this point. On the aroma, it's now after 2.5 hours, it's been fully aerated. You get some floral aromas. I get plums. I get some earthiness. I get some maybe lilac and violets. So I get some aroma. It's not extremely aromatic, but a little bit. It's not, I would say, fully giving in terms of its aroma, but there's something there, and it might need a little bit more time. So on the taste, a lot of dark fruit, black plums, black currants. On the aftertaste, a little bit green. I think that's the vintage. It's somehow it just doesn't seem quite evolved or quite encompassing. Still very drinkable, still very nice, but somehow the aftertaste is not quite there, and I think it's a little bit green. So I'm going to give this a little bit more chance. I'm going to say it's a little still tight. I still don't think it's ready. I think it's showing signs of the vintage, which is a little bit short on the aftertaste, a little bit green, and I hope it gets a little bit better with age. The verdict on this wine, I think, is still out. I would give it another 2-3 years and see if it improves. At this point, I think it's an 87 point wine, but hopefully it'll improve. And I think compared to my tasting 2 years ago, I think it had a lot more potential 2 years ago. And now that we're 2 years out, I think in my mind, it has lost some of that potential. So I'm not quite liking the trend of the 17s. And so I don't know if it's just this wine or others, but it'll be interesting to continue to taste. But I'd hold on to this wine for another couple of years and see if it kind of softens a little bit. At this point, yeah, I think it's 87 points. Hope you've enjoyed this tasting. Until next time, happy drinking.